Yo, what's poppin'? We have another four games. Wow. Um, First up, the elimination loser bracket game, the Atlanta ran against the Houston Outlaws. Atlanta ended up winning 3-1. But Oasis is a 2-0 for Houston. So Atlanta playing Kai, Venom, Hawk, Ultraviolet, and OG. Houston playing Merit, Pelican, Dante, Iris, and Lastro. City Center is 145 for Houston. Atlanta playing Sojourn, Tracy, Tracer, Doom, Ana, Zen. Houston playing the same thing with Genji. Merit's doing a lot, to be honest with you. And Kai is suspiciously not doing a lot. So I don't know if he's not warmed up yet. I don't know what's happening, but Merit was kind of diffing him. And Dante was doing more than Hawk with basically the same resources. There would be times where Dante and Hawk would both go in with like Nano Doomfist, and Dante would just do more, um, like a lot more, like multiple kills. And Houston just do look better on this composition than Atlanta. Also, Pelican doing a lot. On the Genji, I like the Genji more than the Tracer on City Center. He's able to take more space and apply more pressure from different areas. The Tracer, you know where the Tracer is going to be in the back line. That's just how it is. Genji can poke up, can move around a lot, and just force a lot of space for a more sustained amount of time with the deflect and pressure like that. So I do. So I shouldn't undervalue how good Pelican was there as well. University is 144 for Houston. Same compositions. It's just pretty much the same as the prior map. A little back and forth, right? But overall, it's the same thing. Exact same compositions. Uh, just yeah, that's just how it is. Um, Literally the exact same thing. Merritt was doing good. Pelican was doing good. Dante was doing more than Hawk. Just the same thing for two rounds in a row. However, Kings Row is a 2-1 for Atlanta. Houston playing the offense. They're playing Sojourn, Genji, Doom, Ana, Zen. Atlanta on the Sigma. They're playing Sojourn, Tracer, Sigma, Ana, Zen. Houston are really struggling to find any sort of dive on A. Eventually, they are able to get through because Pelican pops off, as they do. Uh, yeah. So he kills like three, and they win, and they have 230 entering B. And Houston just kind of roll to the start of B, but then Atlanta hold on at the end with some good ult usage, um, as well as Venom and Kai doing things. And Hawk, your Flux is just a better ult than Meteor Strike. I don't know. It's not much to say. They hold on, and Houston stops at the end of B. And Atlanta on their offense, they're playing again the Sojourn, Tracer, Sigma on a Zen with a Sigma. Houston are playing the same thing with Doomfist. And Atlanta basically just walk in and win. Venom just drops down or Venom kills the guy who drops down to contest the point. And just kind of goes from there. Atlanta just keep on going. Nano Kai forces Houston to back even more. Atlanta push up, but Houston are able to come back with ults to stabilize, but then Atlanta win using ults. Pelican does kill two to give Houston a solid chance on that final fight, but Houston aren't able to get to the point in time, and Atlanta win. So a pretty decisive compositional difference here. Houston were really struggling to get through the Sigma at all. I do like the Doomfist on this point, but we've even seen teams like Atlanta start to move away from the Doomfist. We've seen teams play the Winston instead, so I guess the Doomfist is falling out of favor. Just too much poke, and he can't mitigate it enough. The Sigma wins. Dorado is a 3-2 for Atlanta. Piggy comes in for Dante. But that's not enough. So Atlanta on their offense play Sojourn Tracer, Winston on a Zen. Houston play Ash Tracer, Sigma on a Zen. So back on it with the Sigma. Only it's flipped this time. So Atlanta basically force Houston back off the high ground into a corner and win. But then Piggy swaps over to Winston in a recontest, and Atlanta struggle. Really, they struggle for a bit there. But eventually, they get their ults. They end up capping it over time and have 230 entering B. Kai goes quite big on B. Kai does things. However, Hawk is dying frequently, so they can't really get a lot of good push out of it. Eventually, though, they land a DPS. They do clutch up, and they head through B. In overtime, and have 130 entering C. From there, Mara gets the better of Kai, and then let the reset. But then they win the fight with ults going back, so it's kind of worth, and they end up capping. So yeah. Hawk actually, I should mention, Hawk on the Winston was actually doing quite well. I don't know. It was quite well. Better. I don't know how to describe it. It was well for him. Maybe if it was like a goose way on the Winston or something, it'd be a little like underwhelming or a little average. But Hawk while he is filling up for the Winston role, he's filling it admirably. He's not quite there yet with it. But he did have some good primals. Like the mechanics are there. Um, just not quite as much experience on the hero yet. Like in this overtime, they end up winning with the ults because Hawk is able to knock back Piggy, right? Um, so I think Hawk needs some recognition there. Houston on their offense play Sojourn Tracer Winston on a Zen. Nope, that's what Atlanta's playing on on the defense, but Houston playing Sojourn Echo Winston on a Zen. So the only difference being Houston on the Echo for the Tracer, and I like this this change because Tracer isn't that good on the offense. A lot of high grounds on both A and B, and even C that make Tracer kind of difficult. And the Echo allows him to poke off Hawk from the initial high grounds that Winston's like to drop down onto and hold for a bit. So that poke that he has makes it very difficult for Atlanta to actually hold close in any way, and they have to give up a lot of space. So Houston poke out Atlanta, and then they dive in and they win the high ground. But Atlanta DPS are able to hold them out. However, Pelican hits a sick flank, full stickies UV, and copies him as he dies. And he opens up the fight for Houston. They have 355 entering B, so a very good flank from Pelican. Pelican, extremely strong play here to get Houston through A. Then Merritt diffs Kai, and Houston gets some good cart movement. Atlanta do stabilize after a very scrappy fight, but Merritt is able to diff Kai again, and UV dies. And Hawk just can't do enough with the nano boost, and they have 230 entering C, so it looked pretty good. Houston then take the high ground from Atlanta, but Hawk swaps over to the D.Va to recontest, and Houston are not able to kill them fast enough so Atlanta hold on. The D.Va swap was important here. I think D.Va is probably the best character to actually swap stall, especially when you have people on the point, because the defense matrix is so useful in keeping people alive, and then you get your reinforcements back, and if you're trading out kills, it's very good. Whereas Doomfist, Doomfist gets there faster, and maybe he has more kill pressure, but that's not what you're doing. It's important, but it's more important to keep your DPS alive. So that's why I love this swap over to the D.Va and not the Doomfist, because it really was a difference maker that helped Atlanta take this map, or at least not send it to extra rounds. Coliseum is a 92-65 for Atlanta. Dante comes back in for Piggy. Atlanta playing Sojourn Tracer Doom on a Lucio. Houston playing Ash Genji Doom on a Zen. And Kai kind of rolls this one. Merritt has an alright map, but whenever you have Kai playing his best, it's not good enough. And it's just a key winning factor for Atlanta is how well Kai is playing and also how well their backline is surviving. Houston's backline is struggling a lot more compared to how much Ultraviolent and OG are just living. I kind of credit that to OG on the Lucio a little bit here, because while the Zenyatta is good at dishing out damage, it's much worse at living dives, especially with how hard Hawk and Kai and Venom, like the Venom Hawk duo of their dive, very good. It's in sync, and I think I kind of like that Venom played the entire time, to be honest. Even though you locked on the Tracer, I do like it a little bit. But yeah, Houston, whenever they get their wins, they're winning off of the star DPS plays from Merritt and Pelican, which they do get a few, right? They do push it 65 meters. That's solid. But when Atlanta are winning, they're focusing down Dante, and then they also have the hero plays as well, or they're killing the supports, right? They have different motives of winning. But yeah, I guess part of focusing down Dante is killing the supports and taking like vision away from Dante on him. Like if you kill the supports, Dante's much easier to kill, right? That's just kind of how it works. So, Houston often failing to figure out how aggressive they want to be. There are times where they overcommit, and then Atlanta, who were just backing up and giving Houston space, then they go in because Houston's overstepped their boundaries. They recognize this, and they take the fight a little earlier than they otherwise would have, and they win it. Right? That happened once for sure, maybe twice. And there's another time where they have 5 ultimates. It's like going to final fights, like approaching overtime, but they don't use them fast enough, and they die. That's just a tempo issue. If you let Houston control the tempo, I find that often they will fumble it a little bit. So it's not the biggest issue if you don't set tempo against Houston, because they will fumble like they'll have some issues with it. Um, but yeah, Atlanta more complete as a team, and it shows. So time to play the Magic, gonna go to Hawk, putting in the work. They call him the Jote in the interview, Jack of all tanks. I kind of like that. I kind of rate it. He was on the Sigma, he was on the Winston, he was on the Doomfist. That's all you really need. He was on the Diva, right? Solid all around. Definitely matched Dante's value on the Doomfist. After that first map, the first map was a little rough for Atlanta, but they recognized what Houston were trying to do to win, and they reacted to it, right? And he was better than Piggy on the Winston for sure, and just a solid matchup for the Hawk tank overall. And that flexibility that he provides really does set them above Houston, especially in this matchup. Houston being locked into Doomfist on King's Row kind of hurt them a little bit. I think they would have liked to have been off it, but overall, Houston did come out strong. They were dipping on the Doomfist comp. Merit was popping off. Pelican was popping off. Pelican doing so much work on the Genji. Houston were just dipping, but the diff didn't last. And lets dynamic compositions and their playstyle adaptations. Very good for them. Kai does come alive. Like Kai and Venom very much able to do the hero plays just as much as Merit or Pelican can. So the DPS matchup isn't even there. I do rate Atlanta's backline a little bit more. They were able to live better, able to do more. I like the tanking better. So just Atlanta just a little bit better at everything, and it ends up being a 3-1. Next up, the Florida Mayhem against the Philadelphia Fusion. These numbers can't be right. It's really don't have the same. That's just not true. Anyway, it's a 3-2 for Philly. Ilios was a 2-1 for Florida. Florida playing XE Checkmates, Someone, Rupal, and Surma Jed. Philly playing MN3 Zest, Belosaria, Aim God, and Fixa. So I was eating a burrito bowl, so I did not take any notes. However, Philly won Ruins, and Florida took the other 2 maps. So XE on the Widowmaker was doing a lot on Ruins, but Philly were able to focus him down pretty hard anytime he got anywhere near, and they were able to win. But the other 2 maps, Surma Jed came alive, and he was a huge decision factor for Florida able to win that. He was taking very aggressive angles, not necessarily flanks. He was playing very far forward and very aggressively to take good line of sight and pressure down the Philly tank of Belosaria, or stop the or kind of make it an awkward place for the Fusion to dive, because yeah, you're more aggressive, so you're easier to dive. However, you're also easier to peel for. So there is some merit there, and yeah, I don't know. Pretty good stuff from Florida on this opening map. Kings Row was a 3-0 for Philly. Animo comes in for Surmajed, and Fury comes in for Belosaria. Philly on their offense play Sojourn, Echo, Doom on a Mercy. Florida play Sojourn, May, Ryan, Bap, Lucio. It does not work out well. So Philly just kind of roll this. Zest on the pocketed Echo. Oh, he does a lot. Someone ends up on Zarya, but it's just not there. Actually, Fury ends up on Diva at the end too. But yeah, just a roll. MN3 also had a good time. He was there, but it was primarily Zest play driving, and it was just a weird mishmash comp in the end. I don't know. It's not that mismatch, but the May pick doesn't really do much. No one is there to kill the Echo Mercy pocket. I guess XE is technically, but he still has a Sojourn to worry about. And his tank is just AFK trying not to die to the little robot in the sky with the funny little blue beam. Very good read from Philly to play the Echo Mercy into that. I don't know if that was a call that they saw maybe the Reinhardt in the door and they were like, okay, we're gonna go Echo Mercy, but it worked out and they just ran with it. Florida's offense was looking really bad. This is a map they're gonna want to get back. Florida playing Sojourn, Genji, Winston, Bap, Lucio. Philly playing Ash, Tracer, Sigma, Zen, Bath. And the things Fury does on the Sigma is unreal. It was just unbreakable. He was 80% on Flux after the first fight. He hit a massive rock on XE from XE was above him and he hit the rock. It was crazy. Someone was just dying. Florida doing really weird rotations that are just disjointed, meaning that Zest on the Tracer is able to pick kills on the backline and XE. The ults just weren't getting any value. I don't know. It was really poor. This is tragically bad from Florida. And Philly were just exceptionally better. Gibraltar, 2-1 for Florida. Belosaria comes back in for Fury. Florida on their offense play Sojourn Tracer Winston on a Brig. Philly play Sojourn Tracer Ball on Zen Brig. And Philly are giving Florida a lot of space early, and they don't look at Ripple at all. He is just sitting in server of so many people around him, but they're just not looking at him. Florida eventually get Nano, and they put it on someone, and they just kind of win. He goes deep. Fusion hold on B for a good 2 fights before someone, well, because someone over aggresses, goes a little too deep and dies. And Bellisria is really, he is cogging on the ball. Really good ball gameplay on this Gibraltar B. But eventually Florida do get a kill. We take shuttle. Someone is back. He is not inting and still playing aggressive. And they head into C with 155. M3 pops off on there, and Florida just get like a push to the corner, but they don't have to see C ever again, so they don't really care what they get. Philly on their offense. Florida play Widow Tracer Winston on a Brig on the defense. On the offense, Philly run Widow Tracer Ball Zen Brig. M3 rolling through on Widow on A, just clicking heads, but as soon as it hits B, basically a Xe on the shuttle with control, someone playing very aggressive, getting necessary heals he needs to cut people off, and it's just a wrap. Philly are not breaking through. Eventually, Bellisria does get a kill with Xe on mines, but Fixa dies. He rallies and dies even. Florida end up stabilizing, and still Xe is doing so much. It's just not there. They're just spawn camping, and Xe and someone are just soloing together, so they're duoing. They could have 2v5'd that, probably. If they had some mega health packs attached to them, they definitely 2v5 this. Philly had no shot. Letting Xe set up on that shuttle, huge mistake. New Queen Street, 111 to 75 for Philly. Hydron comes in for Xe and Sermajay comes in for Anima. It's a very weird composition that Florida play. They play Sombra, Tracer, Doom on a Zen. Philly play Ash, Tracer, Ball, Zen, Ana. Florida starts strong. The Hydron Sombra was doing work at the beginning, but once M3 and Zest got cooking, Bellisria started balling. Philly push in, and they're just holding their advantage. Once you get to 100 meters, it's looking rough. There was like maybe some hope for Florida. Not really, though. I don't love Xe getting subbed out after he was just doing so much work. I don't love Hydron being subbed in to play Sombra. And I've been converted to an Xe enjoyer over Hydron after these matches. He wasn't better at the beginning. I'm going to stand by that. But they did what I thought they would do. They did play him. They thought he would be better in the long run. He kind of has been. Xe, very important for the winnings of Florida. But I think it's just a poor read from Florida here to play the Sombra Tracer Doom. I don't know. I just don't like it. Li Zhang's a 2-1 for Philly. It's a nail biter. So Xe comes back in. Animo comes back in. Control Center is 199 for Florida. They play Sojourn, May, Rhine, Bap, Lucio. Philly plays Sojourn, Tracer, Balls, and Bap. There is no Echo here to stop the Reinhardt. Philly try to move over to the coast side, but Florida just keep running onto them with the Maywall. They literally Maywall jump scare them. Bellisria almost keeps booping them off the map, but he's not quite getting the boops he needs. And it just isn't. It's just not close enough. And Florida are winning. They're just running down. The ball isn't able to displace them enough. Checkmate gets cut a little bit, but it's whatever. Not too important. Xe still doing the Lord's work. Florida ended up winning the first match. Gardens is 195 for Philly. Florida plays Sojourn Tracer, Doom, Moira, Lucio. Philly play Ash Tracer, Balls, and Brig. It was looking quite bad for a bit. Florida had like 70% and even more, but Philly were able to hold out. Okay, yeah. So talking about Garden again, the Florida comp wins first. Because Florida DPS win the first fight, and then Philly kind of slowly burn them out, right? They run out of resources and they lose. From there, a lot of teams use ults. MN3 Bob does a lot, and he gets a kill, and Florida reset. Zest gets a good stick, and he does a lot. Philly win with just using Rally. It's very important. Florida close the gap. Xe goes white and he kills 2, and Bellisria uses mines and gets air with it. And Florida do flip. Zest to get some kills, and MN3 gets a bunch, and he also bobs point for pressure, and then Philly wins. So MN3 and Zest still coming up big, still doing what Philly needs them to do. Night Market's at 100 to 99 for Philly. This was an epic fight. I would suggest you go back and watch this one round if you have time, because the performance MN3 put on was immaculate. If you're familiar with the Carpe winnable clip against the Boston Uprising from season 1, MN3 did a 2022 cosplay of that. So Florida playing the Sojourn Tracer, Doom Warrior Brig. Philly played the Ash Tracer, Ball Zen Brig. Philly looked good. They looked great even. Someone's aggression was going crazy. They were diving onto the Philly supports. They were dying. But again, the Philadelphia Fusion DPS and Belisria stay winning. Rupel is also not staying winning. He's dying a lot. He's just throwing sleeps at willy-nilly. As soon as he uses a fight, you can count that Rupel does not have sleep there. It's just odds are he doesn't have it. He misses a bob one time. MN3 bobs the point. A critical lost fight. The last time Florida had control of the point, the bob comes out. He misses sleep and dies. That's not acceptable. I'm gonna be honest. You have to hit that sleep there. Even if you die, you have to hit that sleep there. But it's 99-99 overtime. Florida get kills on the back line. And it looks good for a Florida win. But MN3 kills 2. Then he walks up and he kills another 2. Zest is living. MN3 wins. It was just an MN3 wins. There's not much more to say. It was a spectacular DPS difference from the Philadelphia Fusion. And player of the match is going to go to MN3 just because I don't care that XC got the better of him on Gibraltar, on Ilios. MN3 coming up this clutch in both Gardens and Night Market. It's MN3. It was a very close series. It was a closer series than I thought it would be. Florida looked like the more coordinated, the more functioning team, but Philly's pop-off potential and raw gaming prowess from their DPS line and Belisria was just too much for them. And even though XE popped off on maps they won, honestly, even though I say Florida were the more coordinated and functioning team, the maps they won were because of XE popping off, or because on Ilios, Sermajed applying a lot of pressure and acting as a third DPS, basically. It wasn't really off of their coordination that they won. So even though they were more coordinated, they were not consistently more coordinated enough to win, to be better. Also, kind of the battle of bad backline. AimGod Fixa against Rupel, Animo, or Sermajed. Not that inspiring considering what teams we have left here with the Spark, Gladiators, Shock. Who am I missing? Atlanta? Definitely the 2 worst backlines of the remaining teams. So yeah, kind of having a mid-off there, but whatever. It made them pretty impactful whenever one of them lives because they were both dying a lot. And both teams were exploiting it. But yeah, so Hangzhou Spark against the LA Gladiators. This was a doozy. Ends up being a 3-2 for the Gladiators, and honestly, they for sure deserved it. So Oasis was a 2-0 for Spark. They're playing Shy, Alpha, Bernard, Super Rich, and Irony. Gladiators playing Potafon, Kevster, Reiner, Shu, and Skewed. I believe these 2 should be flipped or whatever. Gardens is 100 to 8 for the Spark. They're playing Sojourn, Tracer, Ball, Brig, Zen. Gladiators playing Tracer, Sojourn, Doom, Bat, Brig. Shy is getting the better of Potty. Shy is so good. He is just so good. This is a time where he pushes Shu's window and he kills 2. The Spark backline living, and it was immaculate gameplay from the Spark, but it was off the back of Shy being crazy. You couldn't dive him and win. You couldn't duel him and win. It's just Shy gaming. City Center's 100 to 99 for Spark. They're playing Ash, Tracer, Ball, Brig, Zen. Gladiators roll out on Tracer, Sojourn, Roadhog, Babzen, and the Roadhog gets him about 50%. However, he's not really finding any hooks. He's just applying pressure in that area around him where he could hook. He does swap over to the Ball once they lose the point because he falls, right? He's playing into his Zenyatta. The Zenyatta discords him and he dies. And then he goes over to the Ball. But it's not just a DPS diff. His Gladiators DPS do get some good winning. But Spark really just kind of run it. They just kind of run it, for lack of a better term. I don't know. Potafon hits a big 9 o'clock at one point, but Bernard boops him into his team. Oh, it's not goes big. I don't know why I put goes big. He hit the nano clock, but then Bernard booped him into his team after he used his shift, so he didn't really get anything out of it. Shy bobs right before he dies, and he goes big. Bernard kills 2. Alpha E goes crazy. Spark end up winning. Uh, so a pretty good showing for Spark and Gladiators in that final map. The Roadhog Gambit, I enjoy it. But I think Ash over Sojourn here, kind of worth. The Overclock didn't get the value we needed to get. The Bob does, and Bob being able to supply value for your character after you die is huge, right? The Sojourn, you whiff the Overclock, you basically are useless until you get your shift back up. Ash dies, you still have a Bob on the point for the next like 10 seconds or something, and just pumps out damage. It was better. It was a key moment right there where it was better. The Tracers were about even, I would say. Alpha keeping up with Kevster is good enough. But yeah, so going over to Midtown, this is something that Spark are going to want back. Midtown was a 3-1 for the Gladiators. They're playing Tracer, Sojourn, Winston on a Zen. Spark on the defense plays Sojourn, Echo, Sigma, Bap, Zen. Okay, so the Gladiators have a pretty good time out. The Spark have a pretty good hold on A. Gladiators doing the thing where they slowly kind of rotate around and they either look for angles or picks to dive off of. And they're dying heavily to Alpha E and the Echo for it, right? The Echo, very, very good at slowly poking you out. However, Gladiators do find a way to take out Bernard. They do that one other time, to be fair, but the Echo and the Sojourn do too much damage from Spark, and they can't win. However, they don't do enough damage now, and they're able to move fast enough to not die to the Spark DPS, and they take A. And then they kind of roll through B and C. They just to kind of roll. They get held up on C a little bit, but they just save their ults and use their ults off that. So a really bad performance in Spark after a really solid A hold. Gladiators just kind of set the tempo and roll through B and C. So quite sad there. Spark on their offense play Sojourn, Tracer, Ball, Brig, Zen. Gladiators play Genji, Sojourn, Doom on a Zen, and the Spark struggle heavily on A. Bernard was not finding any good dives. Even when he does, Gladiators do a great job of disengaging and then re-engaging without giving any ticks, really. There's a really sick stick from Alpha E that he hits on skewed, like up and over, like vertically, like he's under him and he flicks up. It was nuts. Instead of pressing the advantage, Bernard decides to spawn camp him, but it doesn't work because HOU is there to save him, and they just give up all that momentum they had and actually lose momentum because now Bernard is forced to go get a health pack and he's resetting behind them. And I think it was a really poorly designed play. Even if it works out, I think if you press that advantage you have for about 10 seconds, maybe you focused on HOU or something, you just should win. Eventually, Alpha E able to get a sick pulse to get through A. Patafon and Kevster as well as Reiner just went out on B. Then there's not a lot of time there for the ultimates to build, and Spark kind of fumble a map. They then go to Dorado. It's a 3-2 for Spark. Gushway comes in for Bernard. Ons comes in for Patafon. Gladiators on their offense play Genji, Widow, Winston on a Zen. Spark plays Sojourn, Tracer, Winston, Brig, Ana. Shy had 20 out of 33 final blows, and it's just hard diffing odds. It's just a hard diff. Spark hold A very strong because Shy is crazy. They're very much struggling to find anything. The dives are just not working. Shy is just killing. It's just Shy is just killing, right? The Gladiators do end up pushing it overtime because they get a lot of ults, and Reiner hits a pretty good primal in the backline and Shy. But then Shy again puts on a clinic on B, holds Glads there until overtime again, and Gladiators have to put a lot of resources onto Shy and just stop him from doing as much as they can, just to get to C. And they don't have enough time to finish out the map because they don't have a minute 30 going to C, and Shy is still Shy. He's just going crazy. Ons basically could have stayed home, I think. Shy was just better. On the Hangzhou offense, more of the same. They're playing Sojourn, Tracer, Winston, Brig, Ana. Gladiators playing Genji, Widow, Winston on his end, but Shy had an 85% railgun accuracy at the end of this map. Gushway basically solo killing the backline on A, on B, and on C. I guess not a solo kill because Alfie does help him, but it's very difficult for the Tracer to get up onto the high ground stage, so he is doing the bulk of the work, I would say. And just a crazy double threat from Spark that lead him to victory. Gooshboy slander needs to stop. He has been consistently performing when he gets put in, and I am done with the Gooshboy slander. They figured out how to utilize him correctly. He's figured out how to utilize himself correctly, and it shows. Coliseum is 113 to 52 for the Gladiators. Bernard comes in for Gooshboy, Potiphon comes in for Ons, and Funny Astro comes in for Skewed, and this is the Kevster show. Kevster utilizing these flanks to burn down Shy. I guess I should talk about that he's on Tracer. They're playing Tracer, Sojourn, Doom on Lucio for the Gladiators. Spark playing Sojourn, Tracer, Ball, Briggs, Zen. But the pressure that Kevster and Potiphon are putting out by hitting these flanks is just insane. They're focusing Shy extremely hard. And just the flanks that Kevster and Potiphon are able to use to do it, there was just no chance. Unless he swaps over to the Ash and he just one-taps Kevster, which I kind of think he should have. Unreal performance from Kevster. I would have liked to know what he was doing. Like, Shy was still getting kills. He was still getting value. They got 44%, or 52 meters, basically because Shy won them 2 fights in a row. But unreal. They were so confused. They had Bernard was on the ball. He switched over to the Zarya for like 2 fights, and he was back to the ball. And whenever you see that, you know that they just have no clue what to do. They had no answer. And this map shifted the momentum pretty heavily into the Gladiators' favor, even though it was pulling towards the Spark. Now they go to the final map of Ilios, and it's a 2-1 for the Gladiators. Well is 199 for the Gladiators. Spark playing it Tracer, Echo, Ball, Brig, Zen. Gladiators playing Tracer, Genji, Winston on a Lucio. So you'll notice Shy on Tracer, which is not one of his characters. Yes, he can play it. He is Shy. He can play whatever he wants, but he's typically more on the hit scan, right? And I attribute this to Gladiators and Kevster basically scaring him off of the Sojourn. Not maybe this map. I can see him enjoying the Tracer more than the Sojourn on this map, maybe. But I don't know. I still think he's so good at the Sojourn. Maybe you give him a try. I mean, Gladiators cap first. They basically hold 99%. But however, Spark get that a brief flip. Reiner is living so well. He's doing so much, and it's weird because Alpha E is on Echo, so you'd think that the Winston should be able to get focused down and die quite easily, because that's what we've been seeing. Just doesn't happen. He does do it later in the round, but I don't know. Gladiators do a very poor misplay, poor communication, where Potiphon goes in with a blade, and Gladiators beat him, but there's no nano boost that comes out, and he just kind of dies. Like, I don't even think the beat hits him. So they use those 2 ultimates and gain nothing from it. Potiphon swaps over to the Sombra then. Alpha E, and then it's overtime. Alpha E dupes the Ana, and then he gets booped into the pit as he's transforming back, and he ends up dying. Then Shy sticks Shu. Funny Astro is going crazy. He kills another 2 and lives. He was down to 8 HP at one point before he killed those 2 guys. It's a very scrappy fight, right? It's overtime. Shu comes back on the Moira, and he gets 2 final blows too, and Gladiators take the first round. And it's because Funny Astro lived for so long, supplied that healing. It was just him. And he was able to not only live and heal, but also kill another 2 people. Funny Astro made a huge difference right here. And this is just the Gladiators backline being world-class, right? Lighthouse. Oh, this says 2-1. It was a 2-0 here, wasn't it? My apologies. It was a 2-0. Lighthouse is 199 for the Gladiators. Again, Shy not playing the Sojourn. He's on Tracer, Echo, Ball, Brig, Zen. Gladiators on Tracer, Genji, Winston, on Lucio. And I'm not saying Shy was bad on the Tracer. He wasn't. But he wasn't... he wasn't winning, right? He wasn't diffing Kevster on the Tracer. He wasn't doing what he was doing in the Sojourn. And I really, truly think he should have been on it. This is a map where you can play Sojourn. There's no reason not to. They just don't. But it was a super close round. The Spark backline were living so well. They were doing a lot. I don't know how Irony didn't die some fights. He was getting super jumped on. Super Rich was hitting all of his whip shots. I don't think he missed a whip shot, to be honest. He was just whipping Reiner all day. So the Spark backline wasn't a problem. I wouldn't say Shy was a problem. I wouldn't say Bernard was a problem. I would say Alpha E needed to do a little bit more. He did have some really good plays where he would kill 2, but he was getting pressured down and dying first often. When he didn't get pressured down and die, he was able to. Oh, my bad. He was able to get good value, but that's not enough. Having multiple fights where you die first in this map, it's just not enough. He needed to do more. I don't like the strategy of taking Shy off of the Sojourn. That's his character. Just leave him on it. Kevster cannot, if you cannot get the better of him on Tracer on this map, it's just too much high ground to play on, too much mobility for him to too many options for him to get away. I don't know. I don't love it. In the end, it was Potiphon getting a huge blade and killing 4 in overtime, right? Potiphon went massive. Spark could have had it if Potiphon did not hit that huge blade. But yeah, Gladiators deserved this one for sure. And they shut down Shy in the end. If shutting him down means forcing him on Tracer, sure, go ahead. Thompson played a match against Kevster on Coliseum. He was just phenomenal. And I really, again, I think he scared Shy off of the hit scan, which is just insane to me because Shy is probably the best hit scan. So I don't know, unless this was their plan from the start to play Tracer. I don't know what they selected this map too. So if their plan is to play Tracer, then surely your plan wasn't to play Tracer and Lijiang also. So just put him on Sojourn on Lijiang. Like what? I don't get it. I don't get it. Unless they wanted a Ruins because they want to hit the diff on Ruins and then win. I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, Kevster and Coliseum, Kevster on Ilios, Kevster all day. God love Kevster. Overall, Spark looked crazy. Shy was doing so much carrying. Alfie and Gooshboy had some great moments. I really do like Gooshboy on that Dorado. I thought he was very good. Alfie had his best moments were probably in the first map. The Spark backline also had a great game, and I'm starting to appreciate them more. No, they're not the pop off backline, but they don't need to be whenever you have Alfie and Shy. They shouldn't have to be the pop off backline. So it's okay. I'm like appreciating they were doing a very good job living, and it's no small feat to do so much living against the Gladiators dive because that dive is very effective, as we saw against Houston. So props to the Spark backline. But once the Gladiators were able to hard target down Shy, Spark did start to crumble. Coliseum was a huge momentum shift, and you could see that Spark didn't have answers, right? They didn't have a compositional answer. Bernard was on Zarya. He swapped off of Zarya. He swapped back and forth. Kevster was running house on the backline. And Spark did look like the team with higher highs, and they had bigger individual pop-off potential. And when what they were doing was working, it was working well. But the Gladiators map wins were more telling. They were more dominant. Midtown was not good. Coliseum was not good for Spark. Ilios was okay. They could. There's a real chance they win in both of those overtimes, right? They have some big pop-off plays from Funny Astro and then Potiphon. But Gladiators were a more consistently better team. I think they were more coordinated. I think they were better practice. They had better answers, even if the answers didn't work all the time, as we saw on Dorado. But they had answers, kind of. But yeah, moving on to the Shanghai Dragons. It's a shock. This was a 3-0 for shock. Shanghai did not come to play. Lip did. Lip always comes to play, but Shanghai did not. So Oasis was a 2-1 for shock. This is where Shanghai get their first round at 196 on University. They're playing Sojourn Tracer, Doom, Ana, Brig. Shock playing Ash, Tracer, Doom, Zenana. Fate Trolls and Shock took the first cap, but then Kalu's Trolls and Shanghai take control, and then Shanghai are playing very aggressive on Shock. As soon as they are in range of a solid run on, they end up winning a fight without using an ult, another fight without using an ult, then they get a pulse bomb kill, and suddenly they're at 99. And then Proper, win some fights. That's just how it's going to be. You're never going to stop that. But then Kalush dies in overtime off of a Meteor Strike, and Shanghai ended up winning. I maybe should have mentioned more that Lip was doing a lot, and is a reason that Shanghai got so much as well. But Shanghai looked good here. They actually did look good. They had aggression. They had fight planning. They had good ultimate usage, but it just crumbles from there. Gardens was 100-0 for Shock. They're playing Tracer, Echo, Ball, Zen, Brig, or that's what Shanghai's playing. Shock are playing Ash, Tracer, Doom, Zen, Ana. Shanghai dive, and then Flood ends up dying off of it, and they give point, and Shock the stagger up, they don't find anything. Lip swaps over to Sojourn, Flutter swaps over to the Tracer. So they reset those ultimate DPS charges. Proper kills Lip, and then he kills what supports, and then he goes crazy. Collusion arrows in. Kilo hits a bomb on the point. Proper still doing things. Shanghai can't get test and Shock win. So it's just a very clean win from Shock. Shanghai never really got a good dive off at all. They never got good ultimates off. And Shock just wins. City Center is 100 to 40 for the Shock. Shanghai do take the first cap, which is where that 40% comes from. First, I guess I should say that Shanghai are playing Sojourn, Tracer, Balls, and Bap. Shock playing Ash Tracer, Hog, Zen, Bap. Is that true? They on Hog? I don't remember that. That might have been copied from the previous map. I don't remember. Probably not. I don't know. So I guess he was on Hog. But yeah, Shock swap over to Sojourn, Diva, Brig. I guess he was on Hog and just died. But yeah, so Collusion's on Diva now, which we have seen before. Proper kills 2 with a single pulse bomb, and then also Fate is off the map somehow. I don't know what happened there. We didn't get a replay on that. I just don't know. He was off the map, I guess. And then Kilo cleans up and Shock flip, and from there it's just winning. Kalush gets demeched by Fate and a Discord, but at that point it doesn't matter because Proper and Kilo are fragging out. Lip gets a kill on Kilo in OT, but the game pauses for like multiple minutes, and then as soon as it comes back, Rally kills Lucian, and Shanghai get off the point and Shock win. So, Collusion on the Diva helps the Shock DPS go crazy because he has an opportunity to pocket them. He can peel for the backline. Diva can do it all, right? And Shock end up winning. Akumwald's a 2-1 for Shock. Sam comes in for Kilo. Shanghai on their offense play Sojourn, Tracer, Balls, and Brig. Shock defend with Echo, Tracer, Diva, Zen, Ana. Shanghai are pressured very hard, but Collusion able to peel the backline, and he gives some takes for it, right? But then he comes back, he forces Shanghai back, and Shanghai do a little bit of a soft reset. However, Izayaki rotates with the team towards coast, kills 2, and Shanghai end up capping and have 225 entering B. But it gets stopped here. Shanghai struggle to take Shock off of the castle high ground all the way. They do go up and take them down, but then they drop and chase after them. Shock end up, they do die, like 2 of them die, but they regroup, go to the high ground again, and from there they never lose it. They just don't lose it. Fate tries to C9, he can't. Costs a lot of time there because he has to go into the back lane, get a lot of health packs and stuff. But Shock just were. I thought I saw a bug or something everywhere. But Shock were just on the high ground the whole time, and Shanghai didn't have any way to get them off. They just didn't. They didn't really look to that much after that first time. They just wanted to like pressure point and try to bring the fight there. But Shock don't. They just don't care, and they get held. Shock's offense was just a roll. They're playing Sojourn, Tracer, Diva, Zen, Ana. Shanghai playing Sojourn, Tracer, Balls, and Bray. It's just a roll. 5:30 into B off of a violent name, and Finn getting a kill, and Proper doing the rest. And they just roll through. Shanghai gets staggered once. They get staggered twice. Collusion just moving cart the whole time. Shanghai can't touch because the whole team's up in the castle, and then Fate died. So what's gonna happen? And they just lose. It was just an awful roll, and Shock just win. They just win. Now Circuit Royale. Void comes in for Fate, Bebe comes in for Li Jiagan, and Kilo comes in for Sam. And this was Shanghai's pick, but it's not good. Shock on their offense play Widow, Sojourn, Sigmas, and Bap. That's also what Shanghai plays. Shanghai kite to the bend, but Lip gets a kill on Kilo. But then Kalush somehow kills Bebe. I don't know where your Baptiste is to die to a Sigma on this point whenever you're around the bend, but they do. From there, Shock are able to pressure down Fate, and they win. Proper kills 5 going up B. He just flanks up the stairwell and kills 5 with overclock. Shanghai are just bleeding out. They're just on the floor. They have 445 entering C. Proper swaps over to Genji, and then they finish with 319. Where are Shanghai? They had 4 final blows, 3 of them from Lip on A. What is going on here? There's just no fight back. There's just none. Shanghai on their offense, they play Widow, Sojourn, Sigmas, and Bap. Same as Shock. But it's just an outclassed. Like, they get through A because Lip gets some kills. Or Fleta opens it and then Lip gets some kills, but there's a fight on B where Lip actually kills 3, but then not Fate, Void is in, and I said Fate earlier. Fate's not in, Void's in. Void somehow dies after Lip kills 3, and then Shanghai can't push, so they just lose. Lip end up finding more kills. He gets 2 more. And they do end up in the C at 130 because now Void doesn't die, so he can actually push off those kills. But it's just not enough. It's just an outclass from Shock all around. Lip and Fleta to an extent were able to win some fights, but even then, it's just not enough. Lip has to kill 5 to win. It feels like, I don't know. I don't know. I'll talk about it in the overview. So Thompson played the match. He's gonna get a proper. He's so good. He is good for multiple fights, for multiple fight wins. He's good for multiple picks in every fight. But who, like, it doesn't matter. He can literally do it all. He can play anything, and he was phenomenal. He's just phenomenal. He got an ace. He killed 4 multiple fights. I don't know. There's not anything more to say. Proper is so good, and his team is so good around him, and they're able to enable him so well. Gotta love Proper. So overall, this team was not the Shanghai Dragons. It wasn't. This was Lip and some dudes from the convenience store. Map 1, they had it together, but then they went for a smoke break or something. I don't know. They were replaced by androids. This was not the Shanghai Dragons. Hopefully, this lights a fire under them, but I'm not confident in that, and I'm not confident they're going to make the lower bracket run. I don't know why I've fretted them, to be honest. They still have the same issues. They're limited on what they can play into Ball or Doom or Winston, basically. The Sigma's not great. Yeah, Lip is very good, but I don't like it when you have to sub in Bebe, and Void doesn't have the same power as Fate does. There's been a talk about the leadership problems that happen whenever Fate's not in. I think that's part of it, for sure. But I don't know. Kilo showed up as well, so whatever. But Shock are the real deal, and they don't give any teams anything. They don't give them anything to work on. I like that they're playing the Diva. This is something I really like, because not other teams are doing it, and it genuinely looks like they have a reason for playing it. All the other teams, when they play Diva, they're on Diva because, like, oh, my off-tank player is better than my main-tank player right now, and my off-tank player is better at Diva, so we'll play Diva instead of a Winston, or instead of a Wrecking Ball, or instead of a Doomfist. However, that's not the case with Shock. They play Diva because they want to play Diva, which is an important distinction. And also, Kaluj is very good at Diva. So, I don't know, it's just very different, and playing Diva for her appealing potential and her ability to live and also be multiple places at once and just kind of do a little bit of everything is exactly what Shock needs, because their backline's very strong, their frontline's very strong. They don't need Kaluj to carry. Kaluj can carry, right? But they don't need him to. So the flexibility of Kaluj, the higher peel, the ability to dive with those DPS and finish kills, the 1v1 potential of Diva, it's very strong, and I really like what Shock are doing with it. And I look forward to seeing more. I kind of plan on doing a video where I think I'm going to look at Shock play the Diva, regardless of if they win this tournament or how they place. I'm probably going to make a video on like a map and just look at how Kaluj plays the Diva, because I'm interested in that as an off-tank player myself. But yeah, comment down below your thoughts. Like this video if you like it, subscribe for more daily Overwatch League content, and thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good one. Deuces.